everyone, and we are going to be going over citations this time. This one is going to be big. It's going to be the longest of these, and it's also the one that is most crucial. So, first things first, what is plagiarism? It is the practice of taking someone else's work and passing it off as your own. More often than not, this is integral to an academic integrity in institutions. Our university here, the College of Business, specifically at TAMU-CC, defines plagiarism as any violations of the standard academic integrity are included to the following actions: copying wholly or partially from another student's paper exam, and a whole block text. Big thing to note from these, I'm not going to go through the entire thing because I have another definition that we're going to be working with, is that this is important. Plagiarism ruins careers, so don't plagiarize. Our definition for us here in College of Life Sciences, Department of Life Sciences in the College of Science and Engineering, is that there's a zero tolerance policy for plagiarism. All work done in this course is to be your own original work. Turnitin will be used to check for plagiarism. Plagiarism is defined as willfully or unknowingly engaging in the practice of taking someone else's work or own ideas and passing them off as your own. Note that you don't have to willingly do it. Even unknowingly engaging in plagiarism is plagiarism. Consequences for the first one, you're given a 0 for the lab or the section. In the case of the manuscript, it's a section. Second offense, same consequences and a consultation with a lecture professor. More than 2 instances of plagiarism as part of the final manuscript will result in a 0 for the entire manuscript. So don't do it. This can be found on Blackboard under course policies. Yes, not citing yourself is plagiarism. Turning in work from previous classes is plagiarism. Not citing others' work is plagiarism. Passing off someone else's own work as your own is plagiarism. Improper quotations is plagiarism. There are 3 papers on Blackboard. Take a look at them. We're going to be going over them. They will be needed. First thing, give credit where credit is due, and that's where citations come in. For instance, whether you're quoting, like I did here, Vibrio vulnificus, a halophilic bacterium, is perhaps the most invasive of Vibrio species. That's a direct quotation, notice how it's in quotes, from Wright, Simpson, and Oliver, 1981. That's one of your papers. Or if you're simply surmising one, a recent review of work on Vibrio vulnificus by Jones and Oliver have shown that we have much to learn. Still requires a citation. The authors recently found that the genetic variability of Vibrio vulnificus SI sequences are enhanced by the duplication transcription events. Also requires a citation. All necessary. So let's take a look at our 3 papers, shall we? And when we're looking at these, keep in mind that they all have different bibliographic styles. That style varies from journal to journal, even from time to time. And we want to compare Jones and Oliver specifically to Chen and others. Well, that's what et al. Is, and others. And you always want to check your journal style guidelines before publishing, or in the case of this report, this paper, check with me. Or go to the later part of this video and just look there. So let's take a look at some of these. So now we're here over on Adobe, and we have 3 papers. First one is this one right here by Jones and Oliver. This is a modern infection and immunity paper. And if we take a look, how they have it cited is with a number, then a page. Which is fine, or, well, probably in this case, 2 citations. Yes, 2 citations. So this is number 30 and number 117. Here it's number 4, 7, 25, 26, 43, 97, 109, 116, 118, 149, and 165. Compare that to a different journal. This is genomic research. And we're here where it's name and date format. Both of these formats are correct. And if we take a look at infection and immunology, this is another one from 1981. This one has the same setup here with the number, rather than the last name date. Both are correct because they are following the style guidelines for immunology and infection. And the other one is following the style guidelines for genomic research. Both are correct. Now, when we take a look at these down here, we have down here last names, and this is a full citation here in the style for this journal. In here, let's go down to the bottom. This is a full citation in the style for this journal. If we look at a citation, it typically has similar things across styles. It's going to have the author's names, a year, title, and then a way of locating that paper in some way. So let's take a look first at an example. This is the Jones and Oliver 2009 paper, and this is its full citation. Now, if we take a look, there's some interesting things here. There's these weird brackets, there's semicolons, there's numbers. Let's break them down and see exactly what they mean. The yellow area, that's the last name, first initials of the author. This is in Council of Science Editors format, so they like to have Jones, MK. For me, it would be Chelikowski, DJ. For Dr. Buck, it'd be Buck, GM. Then, separating out, should be a space there, the date. That's the publishing year. Followed by the title. Then this interesting bit here. This is for online only. This is for the date that it was last updated, plus the date that it was accessed. In this case, this paper was last updated in 2009, but I accessed it on the 6th of October, 2020. Then we have this bit here, which we'll go over here. It's this section here. This section is the volume and issue. So in this case, it would be Infection and Immunity, number 77, issue 5. And then these areas here are the page numbers. And then we have our DOI. We'll go over exactly what a DOI is later on in this presentation, with our parenthetical being this here. This is what I want to see for each of your sources. I want to see a parenthetical whenever you use it in your body of your writing, and then I want to see it broken down like this, just without these individual highlightings. Now, what about a paper that has really a very large number of authors? In this case, we're going to have Chen, Wu, Chang, all the way down until number 10. Once you hit number 11, it then becomes et al. For all the others. Et al. Meaning and others. Then we have our year, title, journal, year that it was last updated, or date that it's last updated, if you know that. Date of access, volume, pages, DOI. This section here in brackets. If you go to the library and you look at the hard copy of it, you don't need to include that. But if you look at one of these papers online, I do want to see the date that you accessed it and the date that it was last updated. And here it is broken down again. Notice how everything is separated either by a period or in some cases a semicolon. The periods separate out the large sections. The semicolons and colons separate out smaller individual areas. In this case, the semicolon is in between the access information here and the location information here. How we would read this is that this is a paper from Comparative Genomics, issue 13, pages 2,577 to 2,587. And then you have your DOI at the end and your parenthetical right there as well. So let's talk about the difference between a DOI and a URL. Everyone should be familiar with a URL. A Uniform Resource Locator is your web address. It's not a replacement for a DOI. Really, a DOI replaces a URL. And usually it's long. You'll notice that here we can Control-click and follow it. All I did was copy and paste this in, and most Microsoft products identify it as a URL and immediately hyperlink it. As opposed to a DOI, which is this right here, which is not hyperlinked, but you can go into and hyperlink it yourself. DOIs are means of easily accessing online data. They're the more modern version of the URL. They are typically needed for most modern citations, and they can be hyperlinked, but again, there doesn't default to that hyperlink. As always, ask your journal what they need. Sometimes they need one, sometimes they need both. I believe on the style guide it says have both. We are going to be adjusting that. And at the end of your paper, you want a bibliography, a works cited, that type of thing. Typically, we're going to call it a bibliography. It is a collection of citations, and the style itself is dependent on the journal, but usually, but not always, alphabetical. So, for biology at 2421, I want a minimum of 5 resources in addition to the DICOT key. You do need to cite the DICOT key. Look at the cover of the DICOT key. That is the citation. I want them in CSE Name-Year format, 8th edition. The bibliography is alphabetical, not numerical by date, not in the order that you use them. Alphabetical. I want DOIs, but not URLs. Every citation should have a DOI unless you accessed it from the library or from a local library. And here's the works cited that we have. Notice how some of these I don't include DOIs. Some of them don't have DOIs right off the bat. So the 1981 paper, this one here, the Wright, Simpson, and Oliver, notice how it doesn't have a DOI. It has a URL, but not a DOI. That's fine, especially with older papers. They have not updated them yet. Since this is from 1981, I wouldn't accept it to have a DOI. But if it's from, say, 2009 or even, 2003, I expect a DOI. I also have here a unpublished work with the year and who wrote it, as well as access. This you might not know. For you guys, if you were to cite your lab guides and worksheets, it would look like this.